Good morning, everybody. I'm really not going to interrupt your conversations. I'm just going to encourage you, if you haven't said hello to somebody, stand up and go say hello. If there's somebody you don't know, go say hello. Somebody you haven't seen in a while, go say hi. Somebody who's graduated recently, go say hello and congratulations. We'll start up in just a few minutes. All right, friends, now I really am going to interrupt. So if you are in the room, make your way to your seats. If you're online, we're so glad you're here with us in that form as well. As we move throughout the morning, there'll be more ways to connect and more ways to engage. Or just run around and throw in a ball and steal in Sharpies if you're Monroe. I love it. She's going to find all of them. So if she comes and you see a Sharpie by you, maybe grab it. That'd be a great idea. Couple of things coming up that you hopefully already know about. If you don't, that you should know about. Create is coming up here in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we open these doors to so far 50 registered kids. The majority of them, I don't know. So at least 40%, I believe, are from the community, which is amazing. And also, please register your children if you are planning to come. Classes are filling up, so get that in. If you have friends and neighbors, there's still more room, so invite them, invite one and all, and we're going to have a great week. It's going to be a super fun week with lots of different ways to express creativity. So if you would like to be involved in that week and hang out here with a bunch of kids, you don't have to teach. Those spots are all taken. But if you would like to help, please come talk to me today, and we'll make sure you have the chance to do that, okay? It is a super fun week. You will be tired, but you will not regret it. All right, other things coming up this week. There is, Isaiah, I think there's a slide with this week on it, isn't there? Awesome. Wednesday night, the Resilient Faith Group is meeting at the Verkijks home. And then the following Sunday, next week Sunday, June 7. Nobody? Really? Kids, you're disappointing me. 6, 7, thank you. Whoever, Maddie, well done. Good job. Branch students are going to meet at Mike and Janelle's house. Jeff or Sarah or And is going to come and tell us a little bit more about that, and you can hear what that plan is. Why?
Windmill cookies at church, guys. This is the first 20 years of my life was windmill cookies at church. So next Sunday from 5:30 to 7, we are just going to celebrate the start of summer. I think everybody has summer by that point. If not, I apologize, and I'm really, really sorry that I'm making you feel bad right now. We're going to have brats and hot dogs and probably s'mores around the fire and just hang out. So we're just going to hang out together. We didn't talk about this, but how do we feel about incoming sixth graders? Yep. So if you are a fifth grader now and you are going to be in our group is 6th to 12th graders. So if you're going to be in our group next year, and it'd be a great way just to get started and get to know a few people, and we could get to know you, and just have a fun night, play some yard games and stuff like that. So we hope you come. If you don't know where Mike and Janelle's house is, I can help you out. Obviously, Mike and Janelle can help you out. But please ask. We'd love for you to be there. So.
You're welcome for the windmill cookies. I saw them this morning, like, yeah, that needs to happen today. You said incoming 6th graders. How about outgoing 12th graders? Yes. So everybody is ish. You're all invited. It's going to be a great, great fun time. Also this week, just a quick note, if you ever park on that side of the building, you most likely will not be able to next week because it's going to get all ripped up for the bioswale. That is hopefully starting this week. That is the plan, at least. So that will be very exciting. Excuse me. One more thing. Today, right after our partner vote, we're going to have a team of people who have said we want to talk about how to be even more inclusive and welcoming toward the LGBTQ community. So if you would like to be a part of that team, we're going to meet right after worship, partner vote, then that meeting, okay? You are invited to join in that as well. And then next Sunday, there will be another inclusion team around disability. So those things coming as well. All right. That's enough of announcement-y type things. Nicole is going to come on up here and lead us in a call to worship. And your words will be on the screen. Your words will be in bold. Nicole's will be in white.
Is sure. Hey, I'm going to start over. Yeah. Come, stand where the path is sure, where roots dig deep and branches stretch toward the sky.
Here we are nourished by what lasts. Here we grow.
Not where shadows flicker, not where the wind scatters, but where the light is steady and true.
Here we are held. Here we are home.
Let us worship the one who plants us in good soil, who tends our growth, and whose way is life.
Thanks, Nicole. We are starting a series today on the Psalms that we will go through for most of the summer. And we are going to use the Psalms in a bunch of different ways. You'll hear Chris talk about Psalm 1 here later. But before we do that, we wanted to give you a chance to engage with it in maybe a different and creative way that maybe you haven't engaged with the Psalms before. So on your seats near you, you'll find a printout of Psalm 1 and a Sharpie that Monroe cannot have. Here's what you're going to do. Take a few minutes, read through the psalm first, and just notice what sticks out. Notice the words or phrases that hit you for whatever reason. You don't even have to name the reason. Just notice what you notice. Read it through. And then read it through again. And take your Sharpie and cross out anything other than the words or phrases that stick out to you. When I've done this, I've done it like verse by verse. So I just take verse 1 and say what word or phrase. Anything? No. Moving on. So then you cross out all of that. Or take it line by line, whatever works for you. The point is, at the end of the exercise, to only have the words not blacked out that have popped out to you, that have stuck out to you for any reason. And then once you have that done, you can sit and notice why those words popped out at you, why those may have struck a nerve or an emotion or a feeling in your body, whatever that is for you. But we're just going to take a few minutes and let you engage in Psalm 1 in this way. Okay? All right. We'll put some music on and let you go through that. There are extra copies around. You might have to search a little bit, but if you need one, there's a couple extras up here too, so let me know. You're welcome, of course, to keep going if that wasn't enough time. I wonder if any of you would like to share a word or a phrase that stuck out to you as you went through that exercise. Yeah, go ahead, Eddie. Fruits in its season. Thank you. Yes, Steve? That the wind drives away. Yeah, MJ. Wicked will perish. They're like trees. Yeah. Do not follow the advice or sit in the path or take the path or sit in the seat. Yeah. Thanks, Neil. Planted. I love that tree imagery. I have a painting that I meant to bring in, but it's sitting in the office that somebody painted for me when we moved from Illinois to Michigan, and it is these verses: the tree next to the water, planted by streams of water, and it is, yeah, that's a beautiful image. So we'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. The intent of some of these exercises this summer is, like I said, to engage with the Psalms in a different way, maybe, than you have before, and to kind of create a collection of your own. So if you want to hang on to these and take them home, great. If you want us to hang on to them, if you want to put your name on them, we'll just put them away somewhere and bring them out each week. If you want to hold on to that collection, we can do that too. We're going to use these throughout the summer in a few different ways. So we invite you to engage in the Psalms in whatever ways. And if any of these strike you in a creative way, I know there are lots of creative people among us. If there is a painting or a drawing or something that you want to create and you want to bring in, we'll display it in the cafe, in the gallery as well. So all of those things are great ways to engage in the Psalms. Maddie, I'm going to invite you to come on up. The book of Psalms is often called a songbook because for many, many years, these were the words that people sang. I grew up singing a lot of these Psalms. The Psalter hymnal was full of these songs, right? The words taken right out of Scripture. So we're gonna sing, maybe not directly from the Psalms, but words and themes that are absolutely relevant. So Maddie's gonna lead us here in a song.
I invite you guys to stand and sing about God's grace with me. It's there in the newborn cry, there in the light of every sunrise, there in the shadows of this life, your great grace. It's there on the mountain top, there in the everyday and the mundane, there in the sorrow and the dancing, your great grace, oh such grace. From the creation to the cross, there from the cross into eternity, your grace finds me. Yes, your grace finds me. There on a wedding day, there in the weeping by the graveside, there in the very out your praise. I'm breathing in your grace. Forever I'll be breathing in your grace and breathing out your praise. I'm breathing in your grace. Forever I'll be breathing in your grace, breathing out your praise. I'm breathing in your grace. Forever I'll be breathing in your grace and breathing out your praise. I'm breathing in your grace. Forever. Yes, your grace finds me. Oh, your grace finds me. Oh, your grace finds me. Yes, your grace finds me.
You can have a seat, everybody. Thanks, Maddie. The reminder that grace is everywhere available all the time is something I do need reminding of, because grace can feel very distant and fleeting, and the world and all of its problems and trouble can seem to drown out and push away that idea. So I'm grateful to hear your voices as we sing that together. If you haven't dialed in yet and figured it out, we're talking about the Psalms here, right, for the next bit. And I want to actually do something that I probably shouldn't do when I'm starting a new series. I want to talk about the series after it. This is what we're starting today, but I want to talk about the next series, which is coming at the end of the summer. I think we're going to call it I've Always Wondered. And what we're going to do is we're going to have some conversation for a few weeks about things that you've always wondered about. And so on the back table by the sound booth there are little cards. On the top they say, I've always wondered. And we invite you to write down exactly how you would fill in that blank. What have you always wondered about? And if you ask, or if you write on that card, I've always wondered why the American healthcare system is such a mess, I won't, and we won't be talking about that one. We won't choose that one. But if you write any other question that's more theological in nature, we'll take all of those and do our best to have a conversation about as many of them as we can. I've been in places where this is called question and answer Sunday or something like that. We're not calling it that in large part because we don't want to say that we are going to have the answers for whatever you've always wondered about. It's quite possible that you have questions that are so profound and deep that the answers are elusive or at least disagreed upon. And we'll acknowledge that and try and give you maybe a broad array of what Christians have thought about those questions and those wonderings throughout time. So what have you wondered about? We'd love to hear. If you've forgotten how to write with a pen and paper, you could also email us. That would work as well. All right. Teresa also mentioned after worship we're going to stick around here for just a couple of minutes. Dale Hulst and Katie Madison have been nominated to be new stewards here. And so the next step in that process is to vote on that. And so we'll dismiss, and if you need to go, you can go, and if you can stay for a few more minutes, we'll have a brief conversation about that afterwards too. Okay, wow, that's a lot of intro into the Psalms. Let's have a conversation about this, yes? Over the millennia, the Psalms have been thought about, they've been sung, there's been plenty written about them. And one thing that theological people like to do is they love to categorize things and order them and kind of pick them apart or group them. And so the Psalms is well over 100 chapters in length. And so Christians have loved to figure out how to categorize the Psalms. Are there Psalms like this that are all together, and what could we call that? And let's call them these types of Psalms. And then there are these over here, and let's call them this. That's great. What we're doing in this series is we're looking at some categories that are up there on the screen. And these come from Walter Brueggemann, who's an Old Testament scholar. He says there are kind of three types of psalms. If you look at all of them, there are psalms of orientation, psalms of disorientation, and psalms of reorientation. And so for the first few weeks here, we're going to talk about psalms of orientation and then move through the other two as we go along. If this sounds maybe familiar to you, you certainly have heard me. If you've been around here for a length of time, any length of time, you've heard me talk about Richard Rohr's order, disorder, and reorder. I think Brueggemann, I don't know that Brueggemann and Rohr talk to each other, but I think that they're getting at the same sort of things here. That we grow and we change as people by going through this process. Psalms of orientation order us. They help us, here's how to think about it, they help us make sense of the world. They give us a place to stand, a foundation to kind of build everything else on. And so one of those Psalms of orientation, conveniently as we start a series, is Psalm 1. And so we're going to do Psalm 1 today, in case you didn't guess that. Let's read it again. You've already looked at it before. Let's go through it one more time. Happy are those who do not follow the advice of the wicked or take the path that sinners tread or sit in the seat of scoffers, but their delight is in the law of the Lord. And on God's law they meditate day and night. They are like trees planted by streams of water, which yield their fruit in its season, and their leaves do not wither. In all that they do, they prosper. The wicked are not so, but are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous, for the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. Okay. So when we did the prayer practice a bit ago, I noticed that no one had the words left, at least no one said this out loud, the law. Maybe somebody did, but that probably isn't what grabbed us. Or maybe it did because it kind of catches something in us that makes us feel a little unsure or a little, not anxious maybe, but on edge. Because for us in our American culture, the law has certain connotations with it. I would say most of us value the law, think that the law is important, it's valuable, but we also have some tension with it perhaps, or even if we don't, the law feels kind of cold and distant, you know, a set of rules and do's and don'ts, all embedded and enshrined in this code of law. For the ancient Hebrew, the law meant something quite different. It had different connotations connected to it. It's not that the law in ancient Hebrew, for an ancient Hebrew, wasn't, yes, a set of commandments, a set of things to do and not to do. But for the ancient Hebrew, the law was something that they deeply loved, they cherished, they held dearly, they revered the law. And that's just not quite how we talk about the law, right? Same phrase, different meanings. This happens a lot when you're translating across thousands of years, which we are, of course. I mean, shoot, we have this thing happen when we're just translating across generations, right? Cap, low key, 8, it's giving. These are all words that we all know, okay? But depending on your generation, those words mean very different things in their context. Same phrases, different meanings. Something like that is happening here with the law. We have certain ideas about it from where we sit, and the ancient Hebrew had a different set of ideas about it. So this morning, I want us to just think for a few minutes about what the law meant to an ancient Hebrew person, and then ask the question, what might it mean to us today in light of that? The first thing it's important to understand is that for an Israelite living thousands of years ago, the law was born out of relationship. An Israelite, a person of Israel, a Hebrew person, traced their beginning really back to Abraham. Have you heard of this guy? Have you heard of the Abrahamic religions? Judaism, Christianity, Islam, these three religions that trace their beginnings back to Abraham. Abraham's this guy who, out of the blue, is visited by God, and God says, I want to bless you so that you might be a blessing. And they enter into this covenant. We don't use that word a lot, but covenant means like a binding together. God says to Abraham, we're going to be bound together, connected deeply. And I'm going to bless you so that you might be a blessing. And your descendants are going to be more than the grains of sand on the seashore and the stars in the heavens. And it's important to just note that God comes to Abraham not because Abraham is a good follower of the law. There was no law. God comes to Abraham simply out of relationship and love. Well, Abraham's descendants do in fact become numerous, and they become enslaved in Egypt. Do you know this story? They're enslaved in Egypt. God sets them free. And God sets them free not because the ancient Israelites were good followers of the law. The law didn't exist. God rescued the Israelites out of relationship, out of covenant, out of love. And once they make it to the other side of the Red Sea, then the law is given. The 10 Commandments, you heard of these, right? And a whole bunch of other laws that come along with them. The law is considered the first 5 books of the Old Testament: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Thrilling reading, the last 3 especially, okay? This is the law. None of that came until much later. And this is maybe just like an obvious point, but it's worth, I think, kind of making clear that the law is born out of relationship. God doesn't enter into relationship because the people are really good at following the law. It's born out of relationship. And it's meant to deepen relationship. This is why the law is given. God says to the Israelite people, you're my people, I'm your God. I want you to understand how to live well in this life, in this world. And so here's a set of laws, here's commandments on what to do and what not to do. And if you follow them, what will happen is you will be deeply connected to me, the divine, and you will be connected to each other. Now, I know that if you ever have ventured into Leviticus or Deuteronomy, you've read some of that stuff and thought, whoa, this is weird, right? And maybe even a bit alarming at times. Well, I'll talk about that a bit more in a moment. But if you can step back and look at the whole thing, all 5 of those books, and all that the law contains, I think what you see, I would argue anyway, is that you see it's all about relationship. It's in language, and it's talking about things that feel very foreign to us because we're living 3,000 or 4,000 years later, but it's about relationship. How to enter into relationship with the divine, how to be in relationship with each other. So the law is born out of relationship. It's meant to deepen relationship. And it's given so that we might have a guide for our lives. It orients us, in other words. The law is the Hebrew word, that's our English translation, the law. The Hebrew word is Torah. It simply means direction or instruction. Okay? It comes from the root word yara, to teach or to instruct or to direct. Another Old Testament scholar says that the Torah is less like a legal code and more like loving direction from a parent. Can I just say that again? The law, Torah, is less like a legal code and more like loving instruction from a parent. That made me think about something that happened this week in our house. Our third born, our 19-year-old, hopped on a plane to Europe with a friend, and met 2 other friends in Europe, and they're traveling around, Hungary, Budapest. They're in Valencia, Spain right now. Tough life. I'm not jealous at all. Josiah had traveled internationally, but it was almost 10 years ago when he would have been like 9. So he had no experience. Let's just say he had no experience traveling. So before he left, we sat down and we had a conversation with him. Hey, you need to know a couple things. Number one, we need to figure out where you're going to have your passport at all times. You're going to carry it on you, or are you going to carry a photocopy of your passport instead? Where's your passport going to be, right? Don't go out alone. You should always have someone with you, period. When you come back, you're going to have to go through customs, and you can't bring anything that you want. There's certain so we talked about these things, right? This is a kid who, the last time we traveled to Florida, got pulled out of the TSA line, both going and coming, because he had things in his carry-on that he should not have had. So we felt this was important. We felt this was important to have these conversations. I think if you had been listening to us, you would not have heard Bethany and I offering Josiah a legal code. But we were giving him loving instruction and direction, meant to orient him, meant to help him in the relationships he was going to have on this trip. It was, at its best, hopefully, loving direction from a parent. And that's what Torah is. It's meant to be a guide. Born out of relationship, meant to deepen relationship, and meant to be a guide for life. If that's the case, if that's how the ancient Hebrews thought of Torah, the law, then maybe it makes a little bit more sense that they delighted in the law of the Lord. I don't know about you, but when you read verse 2, their delight is in the law of the Lord. Did you think, oh, me too? Probably not. Again, for the reasons we've already talked about. But if the law is seen as loving instruction, born out of relationship, meant to deepen relationship, then maybe this is something to really pay attention to. Maybe it is something to meditate on day and night. So I guess if this is what it meant to the ancient Hebrew, maybe we should think about the law, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, a little differently. And perhaps you should. I don't know. That's for you to decide. But maybe you also are listening and thinking, oh, so I guess this is fairly simple. The law is good, born out of relationship, meant to deepen relationship. We should follow it, right? We should all read those first 5 books of the Old Testament, and it's very simple. We should do what it says. Please don't do that. Okay, please don't do that. It will not be good. It will not go well for you. It isn't that simple. It's never been that simple. Almost as soon as the Israelites are given the law, they start having to debate about what it means. Because the law always has to be interpreted. Always. Our American laws are always interpreted. This is what judges do, right? They interpret the laws. And when we don't like their ruling, we appeal to another set of judges who maybe reinterpret it a different way. The law seems simple and basic and straightforward. It isn't. It's nuanced. And it has to meet all of us complex people living in a complex society. So it isn't just that we can read the first 5 books of the Old Testament, pardon me, and do what it says. Word for word, it's simple. It's not simple. So then what do we do? Well, I like what the Jewish people have done for millennia now, which is they fight about it. And they fight about it without separating themselves from one another. Protestants fight about it, but then we just separate, Jewish folks seem to have a better ability, I'm sure not a perfect one, but at debating and wrestling with the law, and at the end of the day still choosing to be in relationship with each other, because maybe it's because they understand better than we do that the law is about relationship, if it's about anything. So we might be wise to wrestle with it a little bit, to debate it, to talk about it, to push, to prod, to wonder together. And we might also be wise to remember something that happened in all 3 of the New Testament Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. There's a 4th, John. John's the 4th Gospel. This story is not in John, but it is in the other 3. And it all begins relatively the same way with this question: Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the Torah? This is proof. Jesus comes much, much later, centuries after the law is given. And here we have proof that they're wrestling with it. This is what they're doing. They're debating it. They're wondering together, what's the most important of all these laws? And so Jesus gets this question: what's the greatest commandment in the Torah, in the law? And Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. It's equal to it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. Take Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Take the law. Oh, and by the way, take all the things that the prophets have said, and it all hangs, it all depends on those things. Love God with everything you have. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's it. That's the heart of it, Jesus says. And so the law has minutia. It does. It has nuance, absolutely. But maybe the place to start is here. That would make sense, I think, potentially, if Jesus is right, that everything else hangs on it. And so if this is the law, if this is the Torah, let me ask you a couple questions. What would it look like in your life, not in the person next to you, although you can chat with them about that too if they're interested and willing, but in your life, what would it look like to delight in the law and to meditate on it day and night, like it says in Psalm 1? What would that even look like, to delight in this, to meditate on it day and night? What does that mean? What would that mean for you? And then, of course, what would it mean for you in this moment, May 31 or 30, I forget, it doesn't matter, June's tomorrow, I know that. What would it look like for you on this day to live this? This is lovely because it's simple, or there's a simplicity to it. And it's, in some ways, or some sense, easy to understand. But how you go about living this out, you could spend the rest of your life wrestling with that question, because it will change over time. It'll change from day to day, moment to moment. There's a lot of room in between these lines, in between these words. And what it means for you might not be what it means for me. In fact, almost certainly it won't. Not all the time. And maybe that's why we have to meditate on it day and night, like all the time. We have to keep coming back to this. We have to keep circling back to this central idea that it all comes down to loving God and loving each other as we love ourselves. It's an orienting psalm. It's meant to build a foundation for us. Meant to help us understand kind of where we are and who we are. And this does that. But you've got to wrestle with it. You can't just look at this and go, oh yeah, love, great, okay. You've got to sit with it. You've got to mull it over and let it stir around a little bit and ask hard questions of it and of yourself. And then let it get lived. So, Psalm 1, a psalm about the law, Torah, may seem distant, cold, or not relevant to ourselves and to our lives. And yet maybe it is. I want to invite you to just kind of hang with this as we prepare to come to this table and to share in this meal, which is this meal, this thing called communion or the Lord's Supper. It is a call to do this, to love God and to love each other, but it also, and maybe first of all, is a reminder that we are loved. It can be easy to follow Jesus and to have that commandment in mind and think, I've got to love, I've got to love, I've got to love, I've got to love, I've got to love. I've even got to love the hard people and my enemies. This is the call. And yes, it is, and yes, you do. But you and I can't do that unless we're not also receiving love. You can't just pour out all the time. You also have to be poured into. And this is one of the many ways in which God meets us and pours something into us. I mean, it's not a coincidence that it's food. It's meant to restore us and fuel us and give us what we need to go into the world. So if you're hungry or you're thirsty this morning, we invite you to share in this meal with us. If you want to be a person of love in the world and you know that you can't do it alone, we invite you to share in this meal with us. Because not only does God meet us here, but we meet each other. We remember that it's also in the strength that we offer one another that we can be people of love. So, let's share in this meal together. We'll have a station up front with some folks who will be passing out bread. The gluten-free option will be up front here at this station, and the cup as well, of course. And in the back, we'll have only gluten and cup back there as well. No pressure. Teresa and I talk about all the things that we say and don't say. She and I talk about this sort of stuff because it's what we do. And this is one of the things we say almost every week, and maybe it just kind of goes in one ear and out the other. But I do want you to hear it again. There is no pressure. I think this meal is a tremendous gift. Obviously, it's why we celebrate it every week. But there might be weeks where the best kind of way of connecting to God would be to do something else. And so if that's the case, then do that thing. But know that you're welcome. All right. I need some folks who are willing to help serve this morning. Anyone is welcome to do that. CJ, you were ready, and I love it. Where are you going to go? Here or in the back? Okay. Two willing, very willing participants. Whoa, boy. Well, I don't know. I guess communion's over. No, you're all right. We'll share this one up here. Anybody else willing to share? Need somebody to just hold the tray of cups in the back. Beautiful. If you wait long enough, then they start coming in droves. Thank you. Okay. We ready? CJ, you ready? Friends, these are the gifts of God for the people of God. Let's share them together. You are loved, and God was willing to do anything and everything to meet you, and that's still the case. Just as grace is everywhere all the time, so is God's love always pursuing us. We take and eat remembering that truth. this reminder that yes, we're called to pour out our lives, but we're also invited to receive, and so we take and receive God's love for us as we drink. We're going to pass these baskets around. If you have a cup, sorry, I can't give this to you. You can put your cups in here. We'll get them cleaned up for next week. Maddie, why don't you come on up? We're going to sing one more song together. The song that reminds us about this call of love that God extends to us, and just how expansive God's invitation is. So let's stand as we get ready to sing that here.
Blessed are the ones who do not bury all the broken pieces of their heart. Blessed are the tears of all the weary, pouring like a sky of fallen stars. Blessed are the wounded ones in mourning, brave enough to show the Lord their scars. Blessed are the hurts that are not hidden, open to the healing touch of God. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. And blessed are the ones who walk in kindness, even in the face of great abuse. Blessed are the deeds that go unnoticed, serving with unguarded gratitude. And blessed are the ones who fight for justice, longing for the coming day of peace. Blessed is the soul that thirsts for righteousness, welcoming the last, the lost, the least. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. Blessed are the ones who suffer violence and still have strength to love enemies. Blessed is the faith of those who persevere. Though they fall, they'll never know defeat. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him.
I want to just share a quick little update. 2 weekends ago, we started this effort to make sure this space that we have here together is one of belonging and growth and accessibility. So we started a capital campaign called Rooted and Restored, and we asked folks who would be able and willing to join in this campaign to let us know by June 1, which again is tomorrow, kind of where we are at. And we've had about 2/3 of kind of our giving folks, about 2/3 of our folks, not this, yeah, you may have that, join in. And the really great news, anybody remember what our goal is? $250, just a cool $250,000, no big deal. We have over $180,000 committed, right? It's pretty great. It is worth clapping about, 100%. And we still have 1/3 of our people who we think will probably join this campaign and are just classic branch people and are waiting until the final day to do it. So we'll just keep you updated as we go along here. And as we start receiving funds, which you can begin giving at any time, as we start to get money for this campaign, we're going to start doing things. And so we're really excited that even in the next couple of months, next few months, you might start to see some signs of that happening. Thank you if you've joined us. If you are thinking about participating in this campaign by networking, by connecting us to contractors, or maybe you have a parent who's just itching to figure out what to give to that would be meaningful as they get into their later phases of life, let us know. We'd be happy to talk to them. Do you have a connection to someone? And there are lots of projects around this building that also would be a gift. That is a way to join in this campaign too. So I wanted to give you a little update about that. All right. Maddie, thanks for leading us this morning in music. I was hoping you'd do a little fancier outro at one of those songs. Maybe next time. She was doing them in rehearsals, and she decided to show some... Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, perfect. Well played. Let's stand as we prepare to leave. Nice job. We didn't even practice that. Yeah. Friends, as you go from this place, really in so many ways the blessing every week is the same, or it's just some variation of it. May you be people of love. Remembering that you this week need to be people who have your arms open to receiving love from each other and from God, and then giving it away as often as you can to those who need it. Be those people this week. Amen. Thanks for being here, everybody. Enjoy the sunshine today. If you are going to stick around for that vote, you can do that. Just stay close for the next couple